programme in the series, actually. Duncan Campbell, our intrepid reporter, and the thorn in the side of authority everywhere, has been poking around again, this time in South London, and here is what he found.
Well, there may be a recession on, but it certainly doesn't look like the people who run this garage are trying very hard to drum up business. In fact, it's definitely the strangest garage in Britain. There are petrol pumps on the forecourt, and there's plenty of space for high-tech workshops. But there's not a soul in sight. What there is fences and barbed wire, lots of cameras, floodlights, security everywhere, even a guard in a guard post. So is this Streatham or Siberia? Larry, you've been living here with your parents for a few years. What do you see from here in your own backyard?
We just see the back of the side of the building with the bricked up window, and at the top, the cars parked along the top with the door going up and down.
On the top there?
On the top there, yeah, there's a kind of like garage door which goes up and down, electronic. We never see what's inside. I'd like to.
Well, we did wonder what the building across the road was. I've even walked all the way around it to see if there were any signs or anything, but there wasn't. I was told by friends that it was MI5. It's definitely government because of the state of their curtains.
What sort of vehicles do you see coming and going?
All types of cars, camper vans, motorbikes.
Do they come out again?
I never see the same cars going in and out. I think they come out different colours.
What's happened when people around here try to find out what's going on?
Well, they've been very reluctant to say what it's all about over there. And they have been very offish, you know, with people and not very friendly at all.
It's all rather spooky, but perhaps this means that this could be the place to get that special car of your dreams, the second-hand Aston Martin with ejector seat, of course. So, let's see what they've got to sell at this rather unusual garage. Hello there. Hello there. May we talk to you? May we talk to you? May we talk to you? Hi, I'm from Schofields Quest, a television program. We've been talking to some of the people around here about the kind of things that go on here. Can you tell us who owns this garage and what goes on here?
No comment.
Who do you work for? Can you tell us that?
I can't tell that either, sorry.
What kind of things are you doing in here? Why are there so many cars coming and going?
Well, the work here, don't they? Just an ordinary garage.
It's just an ordinary garage?
No comment.
Oh, can I buy a car then?
I can't, actually, I say no comment.
Something like an Aston Martin, perhaps?
Might do, yeah.
With ejector seat.
Flying saucers. So we volunteered Ken Hollingshead, and here he is, wet, windblown, and willing as ever.
Well, here we are on a very windswept afternoon on Ilkley Moor, and we've come actually to talk to people about the strange happenings here. Philip, you've actually written a book called Without Consent, which is all about UFO abductions. Would you like to tell us about what you've experienced?
Well, there's one famous abduction case that took place here on Ilkley Moor, just about a mile from where we are. But the whole moors themselves are quite literally haunted by UFO sightings. There have been some very recent sightings, and we've had them historically down the years as well. There are some people that believe these sightings are of alien spaceships, while others believe that there's a more natural earthbound phenomenon, that the lights are created by the Earth itself. They're termed Earth lights, so it's a much more down-to-earth theory, if you like. But we honestly don't know what these sightings are.
Nigel, can I bring you in? You're a local historian. And in fact, perhaps you can tell us why these are called the Hanging Rocks.
Yeah, the Hanging Stones Rocks Quarry, that's actually a quarry, has a lot of myth and legend associated with it, and the name derives from the actual placing of witches up here from the local township in the 1600s. Also, there have been mysterious balls of light actually being focused and actually seen in this area. One very recent one, just to the south of here, has only been investigated last week.
So in fact, there's an enormous amount of sort of historical background as well as...
Very much so.
Yeah.
In the Victorian era, it was called the Haunted Moor.
Oh, not surprised. Turning now to Alan, you've actually experienced things on this moor. You're an eyewitness to things.
Oh, yes.
Would you like to tell us about that?
Well, we got one on camcorder on June the 6th, and it's just like a immense light bulb in the sky. They just come, and then they just go. A matter of a flick of a switch, and they're off, they're away. It's amazing.
And that's your own experience?
Yes, it is.
Peter, now you've been investigating strange things on these moors for almost 27 years. I mean, what's your explanation of them?
Well, the research I've done and investigations into the matter is that I'm beyond a shadow of a doubt that there's intelligent life elsewhere. It's totally impossible for the Earth just to be one planet on its own. We've got billions of stars out there, and I believe we've been visited by intelligent life. Yeah. There's no doubt in my mind.
You've even had some communication with them, haven't you? Some sort of form of sort of communication.
Yeah, we've signalled them with strobe lights, what we've rigged up, car headlights, and we've had a response to intelligent signal back.
Yeah. So you think that is something that's coming from another form of life?
Well, in my opinion, yes, indeed.
Darrel and Tracy, you've actually experienced something fairly close to this area, and you've got it on camcorder as well. Can you tell us what it was?
That's right. What we actually caught was a very bright object that came from the northwest of where we live, which is in Mansfield. And the object became motionless in between Mansfield and Plesley, and then just started to dissipate in light. And as it did so, 2 helicopters converged on this light, and it just totally vanished.
It's the actual things that it's doing. It's disappearing between frames of video, which means that it's moving very, very fast. It's defying our physical laws. This is what makes it interesting. There's no explanation we can come up with at this time.
Well, Ken and his crew stayed up there half the night and they saw not a sausage. But maybe you've done better. If you have a story to tell about the Ilkley Moor phenomena or about any other unearthly happenings in the skies above, call us now on 071 757 7000. Your friends may say you're balmy, but we will listen, we promise. Right, we're running fast now because we're running late. Time, hundreds more of them, all equally unbelievable. Now there's an expert on this subject, a man whose belief in everyday life is regularly stretched to breaking point. He's here now, and he's Richard Wilson. Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Good evening.
A pleasure to have you on the program.
Extraordinary. I know who that is.
You don't, do you? You could solve our quest.
I don't.
You don't.
Sorry.
The catchphrase, I don't believe it. You've said on telly, and I've seen you say it hundreds of times, oh, what a thing to be saddled with. But you're done for now, with a book with it on the title.
Yes, well, I thought if I brought a book out with the title, then I wouldn't have to go around saying it.
So just show the book. People would leave you alone.
If people say, go on, say it, I'll say it.
Buy the book.
Buy the book. Very cheap.
What's sort of your favourites?
My favourites? Well, this is a book of... I mean, I haven't written this book. This is a book of absurdities, and they're all absolutely true. Mm-hmm. There's a nice one here. In January 1987, a woman was driving a car in Chester. She noticed how friendly people were waving at her as she passed by. At last, she got the feeling that something might be wrong. It was. She was driving on the frozen Shropshire Union Canal. And she managed just to get out of the car before it sank through the ice.
You got true believers to stand up, because once again on Quest, it's UFO time. This week, UFO spotters from all over met in London to lobby MPs as part of a campaign they call Operation Right to Know, demanding that the Ministry of Defence comes clean with all it knows about UFOs. It's easy to be cynical about flying saucers and such, but not quite as easy as it was, because now the faithful skywatchers have a new weapon in their hands, the camcorder. Now, I'd like you to meet someone who did see something in the sky, and in fact, he did have his camcorder handy at the time. He's brought the tape along to show us this evening. Would you please welcome from Mansfield, Darrel Keyspence. Darrel, welcome to the programme. Pleasure to have you here. Were you sceptical before all this happened, do you think?
I had a pretty open mind on UFOs, the phenomena itself.
Yeah.
But when this incident happened, that really swayed my opinion.
Yeah, so you suddenly thought that perhaps there might be something in it?
Yeah, well, the actual footage that we've taken on video that you're actually going to see, it's hard to define whether it was of UFO extraterrestrial origin or whether it was of military origin.
Sure. So you're not saying that this is, all of a sudden, this is aliens from outer space. You're saying, is it military? Is there something...
It could well be.
OK.
Who knows?
Let's have a look at the stuff you shot, then. Let's see whether or not we can make head and tail of it. It's a night scene.
That's right.
You're there with
the actual object that we captured on the camcorder is ringed now.
This is your mate and you talking, is it, that we can hear in the background?
Yeah, I'm talking, and there's also 2 other witnesses with me, 2 friends.
Right,
now,
so what's that?
This that's arriving now, this is actually an helicopter that's making its way, that's intercepting this object that is circled. This UFO is there stationary, and we believe there was military helicopters. We can't prove it, but we believe there were military helicopters.
Now that UFO that we can see there, just what was it, hovering?
It was hovering, but when the helicopters arrived on the scene, it started to move to the left, you know, at a very slow pace. And then when the helicopters started to get close to this object, the object just decided, that's it, I'm out of here.
And you don't have any inclination of size or...?
It's hard to tell the size, but what I can tell you what was that the actual site where we do believe this object was stationary above is approximately like 2 to 3 miles from our area.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll be able to find out, maybe we'll cast our net wide to find out what it was.
Hopefully. My question tonight is, if it's possible, has anybody else seen this object?
Yep.
Do they have any theories about this object, or have they actually seen this object?
OK. All right, well, let's see what we can do. Thanks very much for coming in. Thanks for bringing your tape as well. Quest spoke to a Mr. David Davis, who is the Ministry of Defence spokesman on this sort of thing. And here's his statement. Apparently, the Ministry did receive a report of 2 lights in the sky from a witness in nearby Matlock at the same time and date. But the statement also says that no military aircraft were in the area. So our quest tonight is this. Were you anywhere near this area on August the 23rd? Did you see anything? And what were those helicopters doing? If you know anything at all, then please tell us on 0990 200 600 and keep those camcorders pointing skywards. Quest now has new technology on tap. And this is important access to an insider at the Ministry of Defence who is prepared to give us the benefit of his experience and detailed knowledge of UFO happenings in this country. We may not solve the mystery of unidentified flying objects in this Quest series, but we will have a damn good try. Now then, something slightly more down to earth, but only slightly. Surfing by a psychic process known as EVP. Judith, welcome. What's EVP?
EVP is short for electronic voice phenomenon. It's a method of capturing spirit voices on tape, simply.
That's the radio or the telly or...?
Well, you can capture them by using a tape recorder and a simple radio.
So you don't listen to The Breakfast Show on the radio? This has got to be somewhere else, has it?
Oh, yes, it's tuned into a point in the radio which is called white noise.
Right.
That's a sort of interfrequency position. Yeah. And you turn that on and you put on your tape recorder, choose a quiet room, you go into the quiet room, speak to the spirits, and, you know, put on your recorder, record for 10 or 15 minutes, play back, listen carefully, and you may have a voice.
And be patient, of course.
Of course.
We've got an example. Let's play you an example, and then once we've heard it, perhaps you could tell us what it is. Have a listen to this.
Well, this voice is saying Hector. It's a voice of a researcher called Raymond Cass, who's now retired. But what happened was that one day on the beach, he found a piece of wood which was obviously from a ship. And through EVP, he asked what the name of the ship was, and the reply came back, Hector. And he, through research, discovered that a ship called Hector had indeed sunk at that particular spot in 1803. And by later research, he found out that the wood was 200 years old.
Oh, great.
So he confirmed that.
What's your quest?
Well, my quest is to find people in Britain who have carried out experiments with EVP, who perhaps have tapes with extra voices on them that they couldn't quite place, or who are prepared to try EVP and send me the results.
Now this, of course, is very important to you because, as you say, you did hear your son. Your son did
Indeed,
contact you
I did.
This. Okay. Well, let's see whether we can collate and gather some information for you. Judith, thank you very much indeed for coming in. So we're a cynical lot on Quest, and I know you are too, but what do you say to evidence like that? I suppose you say, more evidence, please. That's exactly what we're saying. Have you got similar tapes? Call us on 0990 200 600 and tell us what you know. And if you send tapes direct to us, we'll take them to Germany and they'll be cleaned and analysed electronically so you can perhaps hear a little bit clearer. Here's our address: Schofields Quest, PO Box 9100, London W1A 9SD. This, in some ways, is a sad and tragic subject, especially in, of course, Judith's case. Any genuine help we can offer the bereaved has to be worthwhile. And now, for the second time tonight, missing persons. Only this must be the longest missing person mystery of all time. If the story we're about to tell you is true, then our position of the present monarchy is even more dodgy than we thought. It's London in 1753. A beautiful young Quaker girl called Hannah Lightfoot is spotted in the street by the young Prince of Wales, George William Frederick, who later became George III. They meet, they fall in love, and in 1759, they marry. Angela Ripon takes up the story.
St Anne's Church at Kew, just south of central London, is where people believe the marriage took place. And actually, we've uncovered a marriage certificate which, although it was authenticated at the time by handwriting experts, was later dismissed as a forgery and then kept under lock and key for the best part of 100 years. But nevertheless, at the time, the news did leak out and it spread like wildfire. It was a scandal. The Prince of Wales had married a simple Quaker girl. Well, the court was in shock and immediately began an elaborate cover-up to make Hannah disappear. So, what are the facts that we have? Well, we know that Hannah was born in London in 1730 to a Quaker family. In 1753, she met and then married a young grocer, Isaac Axford, at Dr. Keith's marriage chapel in Mayfair. But it was said that after the ceremony, as they were about to leave the chapel gates, Hannah was mysteriously bundled into a closed carriage. The carriage sped away to an unknown destination, and it's believed that Isaac leapt onto his horse in a vain but gallant attempt to rescue his young bride. Hannah was never to be seen again. From this point on, Hannah's story is pure conjecture. Significantly, 6 years after Hannah's abduction, the court announced the intended marriage of King George III to the German Princess Charlotte of Mecklenburg-Strelitz. Well, now the plot begins to thicken because George has now effectively got two wives. And then in 1772, the Royal Marriage Act was passed. Now, this was seen as a smokescreen to dissolve George's marriage to Hannah. It specifically stated that people of royal blood could not marry those of a lower status. And the act was retrospective, which means that George and Hannah's children could never lay claim to the British throne.
They were traitors, a group of fanatics who popped out of the top drawer of British society and systematically sold this country down the river, under the noses and almost with the connivance of our own security services. When one of them, Kim Philby, came under suspicion, he didn't exactly crack under interrogation.
Was a third man. Were you, in fact, the third man?
No, I was not.
Well, we can't say fairer than that. And then off he went for a touch more spying, followed by a comfortable retirement in Moscow. Makes you want to weep, doesn't it? But here's Kate O'Mara, together with the author of A Spy's London, Ray Barclay, with an offbeat look at the spies and their secret meeting places right here in the heart of London.
St Ermin's Hotel in St James's. The perfect setting, it would seem, for a tale of espionage. Thank you. Low lighting, an enigmatic waiter. The ideal place to enjoy a secret meeting over a cocktail. According to Roy Berkeley, this is where Kim Philby began his insidious infiltration into Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Because MI6 headquarters was just around the corner at 54 Broadway, MI6 frequently used this place to interview prospective employees. Philby, for example, was run through his paces twice here over drinks and lunch before being admitted to MI6.
But could such a busy hotel really have harbored such a dark secret? Roy Atkin has been the chief engineer at the hotel for 11 years. Maybe he knows something.
The hotel was used during the war by the Allied intelligence people.
and there's supposed to be a tunnel that leads from the hotel directly to the war rooms.
Do you know where that is?
It's supposed to be behind the central door on the circular staircase in the main lounge. At the moment, there is a false floor in there, timber floor, and underneath there is suspected a staircase which leads down to our back wall, which is also the wall of the St James's Park tube station.
It is also rumoured that MI6 had control of the 5th and 6th floors where they trained their special officers. This is the staff lift, exactly as it would have been in Philby's day, with one vital exception. In those days, the lift buttons would only have indicated 4 floors. MI6 fitted a false panel over the top 2 buttons, thus rendering the 5th and 6th floors virtually invisible, leaving them free to come and go as they pleased up the back stairs. 2 strangers meet in a bar, get into an inconspicuous black cab and travel through central London. A curiously apt beginning to our tour around some of the places Philby is known to have frequented. Rosary Gardens. So what happened here?
Well, at one time it was the Soviet consulate. In fact, that's where Philby is reputed to have been recruited to Soviet intelligence work.
Well, it looks fairly innocuous.
Oh, yes, they just publish a magazine there about Russia nowadays. But notice the TV camera over the doorway, and I'll bet you the basement has a superb dark room.
An elegant Chelsea house. Surely nothing sinister could have gone on here. Or could it? Philby moved here in 1944 with his wife, his children, and his 2 dogs, called, appropriately enough, MI5 and MI6.
When the Philbys first moved in, it was generally believed that his wife's family had paid for the house. But later, Malcolm Muggeridge pointed out that it was almost certain that the Russians paid for the house.
Well, it looks very expensive.
Yes, and to make sure that no one suspected where Philby's backing came from, they let out the top floor to a lodger, and Philby's wife ran a day nursery on the ground floor.
We know that this building society used to be the Markham Arms, Philby's local when he lived in Chelsea. So what sort of thing would have happened here, Roy?
For example, this is the place where Philby and Blunt met in 1954, 3 years after Burgess and McLean defected. Blunt gave him instructions on when and where to meet his Soviet case officer. The case officer then gave Philby £5,000 in cash and as much encouragement as their hurried street meeting would permit.
Eventually, MI5 became suspicious, and in 1951 they brought Philby to this building for interrogation. But he convinced them he was innocent and kept his top MI6 job. And this is where we need your help. Roy is looking for another location, the last place where Philby was known to have been interrogated.
But MI5 was still convinced that Philby was a double agent, and because of that, they influenced MI6 to take him to a secret location, a safe house that was wired for sound, where he was interrogated. His answers were accepted uncritically, and he was pronounced an honest and upright man. 8 years later, Philby defected to the Soviet Union, leaving MI6 with egg all over its face.
Neither Roy nor I have any idea where that safe house may be, but we have had some information. Apparently, the man in the trench coat may know something.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Roy Barclay. And thanks to that man in the trench coat who turned out to be a government junior minister on his way to a secret assignation and no use to us whatsoever. So let's take another look at Roy's special quest. Where is that safe house where Philby met MI6? It's somewhere near Sloane Square, but where? 0900 200 600. Too late to stop our secrets being sold to the Soviet Union? Much good it did them anyway. Now then, I do believe it's time to wrap up. Let's get over here to the telephones and give you an update on what's been going on this evening. EVP, right, many interesting calls. Claire from Norwich has had a similar experience of EVP. Thank you very much. Recently departed loved one left a message on a tape. She was blanking, and the tape is apparently on its way to us. Missing persons update, Mina Cook. A call has come in from 2 girls who know her. They saw her in Croydon a week ago. Mary Garrity, several calls, unconfirmed sightings in Birmingham and Manchester. Lines are very busy. If you can't get through straight away, then our lines are open until 10 o'clock. So if you do get an engaged tone and you can't get through, then please try again. As I said, you know, we're need a little bit of patience. Teggy, fisherman, called to say he and two friends saw a seal-like creature 50, well, that's not quite so special, is it? But have you seen a monster? 50 yards offshore at Lake Bala in 1971. Peter Baldwin has phoned in. Sheila Pendleton has found the original Pelcham Puppet Theatre. Very original with all its props. Now, Peter's gone, hasn't he? So unfortunately we can't drag him in for that, but he'll be in his car on the way home. I'm sure when he finds out about that, he'll be leaping happily. Surfers against sewage. Many cases of severe illness following surfing have come in, including meningitis, septicemia, mycoplasma pneumonia. We've passed all your reports onto the SAS, which will, that's the Surfers Against Sewage, greatly strengthen their case when they take it to the EC, thank you, at the end of October. And on the subject of Surfers Against Sewage, we also asked to hear about the coldest conditions that anyone had surfed in. Nick Priddle rang to say he has surfed in a hailstorm and sea temperatures of 7 degrees. Must be out of your mind. And what's this? We've got another one here. Martin Parker from Paynton understood he's a descendant of Hannah Lightfoot. Aha! Great-great-grandmother was daughter of Hannah Lightfoot's son. Has no documentation to prove it, though. The story has been passed down orally, although we will be checking it out. If you've got any information, of course, on Hannah Lightfoot, we would love to sort that one out. Still looking for Jolson's gloves. If you've got those, you missed last week's programme, got any original Al Jolson gloves, we'd love some of those. Who piloted those 3 helicopters? We'd love to know who they were. And of course, our phone lines will stay open until 10 o'clock. If you've got any information, do call. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Framed by Jeremy Beadle. Tonight at 8:30, only on Yorkshire.
Next on Yorkshire, a night to remember, but for all the wrong reasons, in Heartbeat.
If you receive a tax return form and require more information about self-assessment, then get in shape and phone for more details.
Gambling, romance, adventure, danger, fun for all the family. Mel Gibson and Jodie Foster. Maverick. Own it on video now.
Hello, Bob. Could you tell us what lip-quivering change lies beneath the thick chocolate of new club biscuits? Pardon? What? The new Jacob's Club. Everyone's talking about what's changed beneath that thick chocolate.
With old home contents insurance policies, there was no reward for being careful. You paid the full premium year after year after year, whether you claimed or not. But with General Accident Direct, we could cut your costs considerably, with a no-claims discount. After 4 years, this could be worth 30%. To find out more about home contents insurance, call General Accident Direct on 0800 121 004.
A tornado is a rapidly rotating column of air in contact with the ground. It comes from thunderstorms. We drop probes into the paths of tornadoes, trying to get an idea of what kind of force is contained within these vortices. Maneuverability is very important. In split-second situations, there's very little margin for error.
On an ordinary day, a child's bright laughter fills the air. One loving word, one loving glance, the sunshine everywhere. Your worth is his worth is too, so glistening with its golden glow, so sweet and creamy, a taste so good. You're so alike, the two of you. Worthless, and that feeling that you never will forget. When one who loves you says to you, you're someone very special to me.
From here, they blazed their trail as the world sang their songs.
Let me take you down, 'cause I'm going.
Music was never the same again.
Strawberry field.
Now they tell their story. The Beatles anthology, starting soon.
Love was such an
Now it proves to be a hard day's night for the Aidensfield Police Force in Yorkshire Television's very own Heartbeat.